General Hospital shocker. Chase finds irrefutable evidence. Katelyn MacMullen leaves GH for 2 months. The morning sun over Port Charles looked deceptively peaceful. The harbor shimmered under a thin veil of mist, and for once, the city didn't feel cursed by the secrets of its residents. But inside the walls of General Hospital, storm clouds were gathering faster than anyone could predict. Detective Harrison Chase leaned against the counter in the PCPD office, flipping through an evidence folder that had been keeping him up at night. The case involved the recent mysterious incidents surrounding Willow Tate Corinthos, the woman whose compassion had once healed others, but now needed healing herself. The case had started as a simple inquiry, a patient file tampered within the hospital system. But what began as an administrative error soon spiraled into something much darker. Chase's instincts screamed that this wasn't just about a file, it was about a cover-up. And the deeper he dug, the more one name kept surfacing: Willow. Chase's fingers trembled as he clicked open the last photo on his computer screen. The image displayed a digital timestamp and a fingerprint match from a lab report. The match belonged to someone who shouldn't have had access to the patient files at all. His jaw clenched. The name on the screen made his blood run cold: Willow Tate Corinthos. At first, he couldn't believe it. Willow wasn't capable of deception, or was she? The last few months had changed her. Ever since the bone marrow transplant and the strain of her recovery, Willow had become distant. Even Michael Corinthos had noticed her withdrawal from family life. What Chase had thought was emotional exhaustion might have been something else, something secret. He leaned back in his chair, exhaling sharply. "What the hell are you hiding, Willow?" he muttered under his breath. At that moment, Brooklyn Quartermain walked into the office carrying a coffee. "You look like you've seen a ghost," she said, setting the cup on his desk. Chase barely glanced up. "I might have found something that's going to change everything." "About what?" Brooklyn asked. He hesitated, not wanting to bring her into this mess. But then again, Brooklyn had never been one to back down. "About Willow," he said softly. "And what really happened the night that hospital server crashed." Brooklyn froze mid-sip. "You're kidding me. Willow? What could she possibly be involved in?" Chase sighed. "That's what I thought. But I've got fingerprint evidence that says otherwise. Either she's covering for someone, or," his voice trailed off, "or she's guilty," Brooklyn finished for him. Chase shook his head, refusing to believe it. Willow had been through hell, leukemia, near death, her son's health scares. She wasn't the type to commit crimes. But the evidence was damning. Brooklyn leaned closer. "So what's the plan?" "You can't just march into GH and arrest her." "No," Chase said firmly. "But I can talk to her. Privately." Later that day, General Hospital buzzed with activity. Nurses rushed between patients, doctors barked orders, and monitors beeped endlessly. Chase walked through the corridors in his plainclothes, drawing a few curious glances. His badge was visible, clipped to his belt. He found Willow in the pediatric wing, reading to a group of children. Her soft voice carried warmth that made the sterile hallway feel alive. For a brief second, Chase forgot why he was there. When the session ended, she noticed him and smiled faintly. "Detective Chase," she greeted. "This is a surprise." "We need to talk," he said quietly. Willow's expression faltered. "About what?" "About something I found. Something important." In the privacy of an empty consultation room, Chase placed the folder on the table. The tension was thick. "Your fingerprints were found on restricted hospital files," he began. "Files connected to the patient identity breach last month." Willow's face drained of color. "That's not possible," she whispered. "I wish it wasn't. But this is hard proof." "Willow, if there's something you need to tell me, now's the time." Tears welled in her eyes. "You don't understand. I didn't mean for any of this to happen." Chase's chest tightened. "Then tell me what did happen." Willow sat down, her hands shaking. "Someone came to me. Someone who said they could help me protect my family. They told me if I didn't give them access to certain patient records, Michael would be in danger." Chase frowned. "Who?" "I don't know their real name," Willow said, trembling. "They called themselves the Whisper. They contacted me through an encrypted email. At first, I ignored it. But then strange things started happening. My car was tampered with, my phone bugged. I panicked." Chase's expression hardened. "So you gave them access?" "I had no choice," she whispered. "They said they'd expose something about Michael's business accounts, something that could land him in prison." Chase exhaled slowly, struggling to process it all. Someone had blackmailed Willow into committing a federal offense. This was far bigger than a hospital breach. "Did you tell Michael?" he asked. Willow shook her head. "No. I didn't want to drag him into it." Brooke Lynn's voice echoed in his mind. "You can't just march in and arrest her." She was right. Willow was as much a victim as a suspect. "I'm going to find this whisper," Chase said firmly. "But you have to trust me, Willow. No more secrets." Willow nodded tearfully. "You're the only one who ever believed in me, Chase." That sentence cut deeper than she realized. Because years ago, before Michael, before all the pain, Chase had loved her. That night, Chase sat alone in his apartment, his laptop open to encrypted data logs. Whoever the whisper was, they knew how to cover their tracks. But Chase was relentless. He traced the IP addresses through multiple dummy servers before hitting a breakthrough, a digital trail leading to Berlin, then Toronto, and finally, Port Charles University Hospital's old archives. "This isn't random," he muttered. "They are targeting GH specifically." He picked up his phone and dialed Dante Falconeri. "Dante, it's Chase. I think we've got a cybercriminal using hospital data to blackmail staff." And Willow's caught in the middle. Over the next few days, Chase and Dante worked quietly to lure the whisper out. They set up a fake data transfer, disguised as another patient record breach, hoping to draw the hacker into making contact again. Meanwhile, Willow's anxiety grew worse. She began having fainting spells at the hospital. Michael noticed but assumed it was exhaustion. One afternoon, while resting in the break room, she received another anonymous message. "You told someone. You'll regret it." Willow gasped and dropped her phone. Moments later, the lights flickered and the hospital's security system crashed. Chaos erupted across General Hospital. Monitors went black, alarms blared, and every computer terminal froze simultaneously. Doctors shouted for assistance as patients' data disappeared before their eyes. Chase, rushing through the hallways, barked into his radio. "We're under digital attack. Lock down all hospital systems." Dante's voice crackled back. "I'm tracing the signal now. It's coming from inside Port Charles." Chase turned a corner and froze. There, standing by a hospital computer terminal, was Nina Reeves. "Nina," he said, stunned. She looked up, startled. "Chase, what are you doing here?" "I could ask you the same," he said suspiciously. "You have no clearance for this wing." "I was looking for Willow," Nina stammered. "Right," Chase said coldly. "And you just happened to be near the server room during a cyber attack." Nina's eyes widened. "You think I'm behind this?" But before Chase could reply, the emergency power shut down completely, plunging the hospital into darkness. Flashlights illuminated faces full of fear. Somewhere in the chaos, a generator sparked to life, restoring partial power. Willow was nowhere to be found. "Damn it," Chase hissed. "We've lost her." Nina's voice trembled. I saw her heading toward the roof before the power went out." Chase and Dante raced up the stairwell, their footsteps echoing. When they reached the rooftop door, they found it ajar. On the roof, Willow stood near the edge, the cold wind whipping her hair. Tears streamed down her face. "Stay back," she cried. "Willow, it's me, Chase," he shouted. "You're not in trouble. You've been manipulated." "They said they'd hurt my family if I didn't do what they asked," she sobbed. "I can't live like this anymore." Chase stepped forward carefully. "Listen to me. We can stop them together. But you need to fight this. Please, Willow, don't let them win." For a moment, her eyes softened. Then, suddenly, a shot rang out from the shadows. Chase instinctively tackled Willow to the ground as a bullet whizzed past them. Dante fired back toward the opposite roof, but the shooter vanished into the night. When the chaos settled, Chase helped Willow to her feet. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head, trembling. "They are trying to kill me." "Not if I can stop them," Chase said fiercely. Later, ballistics confirmed the bullet came from a professional sniper rifle, same caliber used in the Selena Wu syndicate. Realizing Willow was in grave danger, Chase convinced her to enter protective custody. But before she could, the network of threats expanded, calls from unknown numbers, a break-in at her home, and photos of her children sent anonymously. Michael was furious when he found out. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" "Because I didn't want to lose you," Willow cried. "You'll never lose me," he said, hugging her tightly. But even as he said it, he looked over her shoulder at Chase, silently acknowledging that the detective had once again saved the woman he loved. Days later, Chase finally uncovered the real identity of the Whisper, Dr. Victor Henson, a former GH systems analyst who had been fired for embezzling grant money. Using the data he stole, he had built a network of blackmail targets within the hospital. Chase cornered him in a warehouse by the docks. "It's over, Henson," he said, gun drawn. Henson sneered. "You think you've won? You have no idea who I really work for." Before Chase could respond, a gunshot echoed, and Henson dropped dead. Chase turned to see Selena Wu's enforcer lower his weapon and disappear into the darkness. The trail had gone cold again. The trauma took its toll. After weeks of hiding and emotional exhaustion, Willow made a heartbreaking decision. She gathered Michael, Wiley, and Amelia and said, "I need to go away for a while. Somewhere safe, somewhere I can breathe again." Michael resisted at first, but eventually understood. "Promise me you'll come back." She smiled weakly. 2 months. That's all I need. And with that, Willow left Port Charles under the protection of the WSB, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a grieving husband. Off-screen, ABC confirmed that actress Katelyn MacMullen would be temporarily leaving General Hospital for 2 months to film an independent movie project. Executive producer Frank Valentini commented, "Katelyn has given so much heart and vulnerability to Willow's journey. Her temporary leave will allow her to explore new creative opportunities, but fans can rest assured, she's not gone for good." Co-star Josh Swickard, Chase, also expressed support, saying, "Katelyn's one of the most genuine people I've worked with. Her absence will be felt on set, but we'll keep the fire burning for her return." With Willow gone, Michael Corinthos threw himself into work, running ELQ and protecting what remained of his family. Nina Reeves, guilt-ridden by the chaos she'd been part of, sought forgiveness, but Carly wasn't ready to forgive her. Meanwhile, Chase found himself consumed by obsession. He couldn't shake the feeling that Victor Henson's death was only the beginning. The name Selena Wu appeared again and again in confidential reports. Brooklyn worried for him. "You've done enough, Harrison. Let the others handle it." "I can't," he said, staring at the evidence board in his apartment. "This isn't over." One night, Chase returned home to find a small envelope slipped under his door. Inside was a photograph of Willow, smiling, alive, in a cabin by a lake. And beneath it, a handwritten note. "She's safe, for now. But your city isn't." The signature was just a single symbol, a whisper mark. Chase looked out his window toward the lights of Port Charles, his jaw set. "I'll find you," he vowed. "No matter what it takes." Michael faces a financial scandal tied to the Corinthos coffee business. Carly receives a mysterious package from Willow's hiding place. Chase partners with Anna Devane to track down Selena Wu's cyber network. Nina confesses something that could change everything for Sunny. And when Willow returns, she won't be the same woman who left. In a city where every secret breeds another, truth is just another kind of lie. Port Charles will move on, as it always does, but Chase knows better than to believe in peace. Because in General Hospital, no story ever truly ends.